what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Another Experience. We back again. Took a little break. So we're coming on today. I got a good guest. Some of y'all already know him from the platform that we do. But coming on with my buddy Ron, we're going to talk about, he got some good things to talk about for his finances, life insurance, stuff like that, if I remember correctly. I'm going to let him get into that. We're going to talk about God, of course, and get some things going. I'm your host, Leo, owner and personal trainer of Anointed Touch Health, Fitness, and Beauty. And I think this will be good because I think a lot of people need this type of information for not just them, but for their families and their kids and future and so on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Ron, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks. First of all, thanks for having me, Leo. As always, I enjoy our conversations, you know what I mean? And things that we do. And I appreciate your platform because it's definitely some stuff that we need to talk about. But, anybody don't know me, my name is, you're Ron Blackwell. Everybody calls me Ron. I am a financial service specialist with MassMutual. Pretty much I do, specializing in financial planning, whether that be retirement planning, education planning, protecting businesses, any kind of business planning, anything anybody's looking to do financially for their businesses, things of that nature. But a primary focus on, of course, the protection aspect, which would be life insurance, disability, and long-term care. Those are things I kind of specialize in. But again, the overall comprehensive financial planning, that's my focus. And I, primarily, and I'm working with a lot of us, so to speak, a lot of African-American clients in our neighborhoods, because I think it's something that we desperately need, right? The financial literacy, understanding about how to, not just make money, but make the money work for you, grow our money, ensure that we live a good life heading into retirement, and that we're able to leave a legacy for our children.
Right.
So that's kind of sums it up.
That's powerful. And I think that's important because finances, as we be in church, and by the way, me and Ron, we go to the same church, and our pastor and our church is big on finances and how to, take care of your finances, saving and not being in debt and everything. And I really think it's something major because a lot of the times, we get so bogged down on what we look like and how we present ourselves that our finances be struggling for real on the inside. And I think it's very important that we understand the concepts of this stuff. So, without further ado, let's go into your business and what you do. Well, first, let me just ask you, who are some people who mentor you or who, I guess, inspired you to want to do this?
Okay, well, all right. So it all starts, to be honest, it starts with my mother. All right. So my mother, she just retired year before last year. And she was the CEO of a credit union. So pretty much growing up, like my mom was an accountant. And again, she worked all in banking and credit unions as long as I can remember. So, so like when my friends were getting summer jobs at like the up against the wall, the clothing stores, McDonald's, I was in the bank. Right. I was 13, 14 years old working the teller line. I did customer service. I did loans. I've done collections. I've been in finance pretty much as long as I had a job. So it was kind of second nature to me, right? Like the business and the customer service. And I had some sales jobs and things too, but I always could lean on finance. But what kind of struck me, at one point was I recall working in customer service and working with people and, helping people do small stuff like not understanding how to balance their checkbook, not understanding where their money was going. Like, you're bouncing, just random things. And I was like, there's more to finance than just this. You know what I mean? And I was out one evening, doing what I used to do at happy hour. And, I sat down, an older gentleman sat down next to me. And we had a conversation. He asked what I did because, of course, I was dressed. He was dressed. And he told me that he was in the insurance industry. And I was like, what that got to do with it? He was like, dude, if you want to help people, go get your life and health insurance license, because it leads you to a whole other area. And you can really help people further than just balancing their checkbooks and getting them a loan. But you really can show them how to grow their money. And I went and got my licenses, and, and I worked for a couple different companies, but like it really kicked in on me and really settled in like the last few years, right? On the importance of financial literacy and budgeting, right? Understanding your credit, how to leverage your credit. Right.
Let's just stop right there for a second. Budgeting and credit. Give us some info and give us some insights on what just simple things that we can do, to help us keep a budget. How do we go about budgeting? How should we budget? What should we do when it comes to our credit? What affects our credit? Little simple things.
Okay. So first of all, like budgeting, you got to find out, you got to know how much money you're spending, right? And most people don't realize what's going in and what's going out. So there are a couple ways to do that, right? What I tell a lot of people to do, and what most people, if you have one account, right? Like say you have a bank account, what you want to do for 1 month, don't spend any cash, right? Just use your debit card, right? Every time you buy something, and you do that for a month, that will show you where you're spending your money. Because a lot of times we say, yeah, I make all this money and I don't understand where it's going. This will show you, right? A lot of us spend a lot of money eating. So we spend excess money on stuff like that, small things that we can, that blows out, that can show you where your money's not going. So your budget, basically, you write down all your bills, write down how much money you got coming in, right? And the idea should be, to live within a certain means so that you're paying your bills and you still have money to save and you're able to build a rainy day fund. In the financial world, we always say a great savings is at least 3 to 6 months worth of bill money, right? And most people hear that and be like, how do I do that? This is how you do it. You figure out where your money's going and you figure out what you can cut, right? The idea is to be able to save money. And when you start saving money, it becomes a habit, right? So we got to learn how to live within the means and make saving a habit so we pay ourselves so we can build this savings up. Because if we have the savings, know what that does? That prevents us from having to go into credit and run our credit up. Because if we had the cash to pay something more, now we utilizing credit. You see what I'm saying? Like it all ties in. It all ties into being able to sit down, see how much money you're spending every month, what your basic needs and necessities are, versus how much money you're making and what the difference is. And then you figure out, okay, what I want to cut. Maybe I don't want to eat out as much. I'll cook more at home because that eating out may be eating into my money.
Right.
So it's really just, sitting down and figuring out where your money's going.
Wow, that little bit of gem is powerful, man, because those little bit of things, like for a month, look at your debit card is something that's really good, because maybe it's common sense that it may sound, it may not be for everybody.
Because a lot of us, we spend like it's emotional, right? Like in financial planning, one of the biggest things that I find out that what throws people off is habits, right? Our habits can wreck a plan. You know what I mean? Or they can actually save the plan because I know how you spend. We can put together a plan that could, work around that. But if you're just an impulse shopper, and we have a plan for you to save money, then you got to change your habits, right? We get in our own way a lot of times. It's really not that difficult, but it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not difficult, but it is.
Right.
Because you got to change your behaviors.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
And listen, present company included. I'm not innocent. You know what I mean? I'm a spender. My wife isn't.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's good that y'all have that balance, though. But those that don't have significant others have to find that balance. So when those rainy days or something important come up, you want to feel like, dang, I don't have nothing. I can't, I may have to try to go out and borrow money or ask for money or whatever the case may be. Because like you said, like I was always taught, mom and dad always said 3 to 6 months, as you said, and when I was younger, because they grew up in a different time and they would just tell me they didn't care how much it was. Daddy was like, I don't care if it's $5, $10, $20, put it away. Start saving and start getting, because like you said, it creates a habit for you to begin to do it. And then you can begin to increase it or whatever. But
right. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I want to stay right there because that's good. See, we weren't taught about money, right? Like growing up, we really weren't. Okay. So that's something that I think that we need to start. It's a generational thing, right? Like, so for instance, if you pay your child, say you give your child an allowance, give them $100 a week, right? We got to teach them. Okay. 10% goes to your church. That's your tithe, right? 10% goes to the household, to bills, whatever bills you got. And then you got to pay yourself 20%. So if I give you $100, you really only got 60, right? Because it teaches you to become, now you got a habit, paying your tithe. I got to pay something towards an expense of bills. That's 10%. 20% goes to me. We create a habit of saving when they're young, right? So when they get old enough, now they understand it. And then also what I think a lot of people are afraid of too, and something that I know I didn't learn, but I learned this from a mentor of mine, is that, he had clients and said the reason why some of the young people, their younger clients were successful with money is because their parents sat them down when they did the household budget. Talk to your kids about the money coming in the house. Show your kids at an early age what mommy and daddy make, what bills look like, what bills are going out, how much it costs to live in this house, how much these groceries cost every month, how much your school costs every month, what that cable and that internet costs, right? Now, they may not ask for the Jordans and all that stuff because they see money don't grow on trees. They don't think mommy and daddy are made of money.
Right.
But when we teach them to understand finances at an earlier age, we're setting them up for greater success later on in life. Mm-hmm. See, we've avoided money conversations like they're taboo. And then we wonder why we're stuck in the positions that we are, right? And I think it's important that we change that narrative and we start educating our kids earlier. And it should start at home. And also, we got to be more open and honest and admit that we don't know, right? That's one of the biggest things I think that is people are ashamed or they don't want to admit that they don't know something. Right. So they keep on living a certain way, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the thing is, we can rein it in and change it once we identify the issue. But we got to be able to talk about it.
Right.
Some of us don't want to talk about it. And again, I don't claim to know all the answers. You know what I mean? I don't have them all, but there are resources out here and people that do certain things in finance. You know what I mean? I got plenty of people that specialize in credit repair and credit restoration. We can help you get your credit straightened out. We have people that that specialize in paying off debt, helping you become debt free. Right. We got a lot of people that specialize in all these areas, man. And I got a couple that I work with. You know what I mean? That it's our goal is to make us more financially literate and responsible so that we can build better futures for our children.
And see, now that goes into, because with everything that you're saying, it's strong and it comes from somewhere. So then it's like, I guess my next question is, how did God show you this was your purpose and this is what you were supposed to be doing? Because the knowledge that you're kicking, you had to have a passion for this. Granted, I know your mom, started you young, what you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. But how did God, but sometimes we'll do things out of the thing just because, our parents or whatever, which is not a bad thing. But how did you know this purpose, that this was your passion and purpose that God wanted you to walk in that would, I guess, glorify him? How did you know that? How did that become?
I've always been passionate about people. I've always had a big heart. I always wanted to help people. Right. So I think that, and like I said, it being ingrained in me, like I said, like my profession, my profession pretty much my whole life was that in sales. And even when I work in the sales environment, right? I could always do more. I could always sell up to make myself the bigger commission and make myself the bigger money. But it was more important to me to make sure that the person got what they needed, each individual, right? I believe that the honesty and integrity in business is what will make you successful. And that comes from God. Like, I know that, like, I can tell you, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I need to refer you to someone else, right? Because they may be more equipped. And I feel as though, because I was honest with you, you probably say, you know what, I'll refer someone to him because at least he told me the truth, as opposed to me selling you anything to make me a buck, right? But setting you up, right? And there are a lot of people that do that. I feel like building up the community and building up others is something that God instilled in me, right? Like, the blessing is in serving someone else. It's not in what he actually. It's not in what he gives me as far as what this world is concerned, but what he's given me that I use to give to someone else.
That's right.
I think that's the blessing, right? I think that's when we talk about living abundantly. My abundant living is that I'm serving.
Right.
Right. And I'm in a field where I can serve and I can help and I can educate and I can grow people. And I believe that by doing that, God's going to bless me. Right. And, in other ways. But the blessing is that I help make someone else successful, and I help straighten out a problem that someone else had, and I put them on the right path, and God is using me for that. And I feel like, I get the greatest satisfaction when someone says, Ron, you know what, man, thank you. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? Or I really appreciate your help. You know what I mean? And, that's the thanks I get. That's where I know that I'm operating in the gift that God gave me.
Yeah, that's strong because, like, and I'm not saying others don't get it, but I'm just talking from brother to brother. As kingdom-minded people, you know that the blessings that you get for God doesn't stop there, because you're supposed to take them and bless others.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to be reciprocal because it's supposed to continue. So that person takes it and bless someone else, and then it's going to just continue. And that's another way that the kingdom of God begins to be built,
Yeah.
And I think that mindset just shows that, being a servant and being submissive and being showing the love that you're supposed to have for others because of the love God has for us, so therefore when you're loving them, then you're having that, what you call agape love, that you don't look for nothing back, because you're doing it not because of work. You're doing it because of the love that you have for Christ and the love that you have for the people that you're helping. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. And then also, it's what I do is also, it's a biblical principle.
Yeah,
it's in the Bible. It says that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's not for us to burn it all up and use it all up. And well, look, when I'm gone, they're gonna just spend it anyway. But it's not about that, right? Creating a legacy isn't just about money, right? And generational wealth isn't just about money,
right?
It's a wealth of knowledge. It's a wealth of knowledge. It's a wealth of relationships. There's some financial things into it. There's also kingdom wealth. What I mean? When you pass on this lifestyle, the way God wants us to live, you pass that on, and how we conduct ourselves, right? It's all biblical.
Right.
If you're a wise steward over this, he'll bless. And also if you're a wise steward over a little, he'll bless you with more.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So we got to be able to handle the little bit that he gives us, and if we're smart with it, then again, there's a blessing in that too. And then again, we educate our children so they won't go out and burn it up and blow it the way we think they will, because they don't have that manly world set. I mean, that worldly mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they understand leaving a legacy and creating a legacy. And that's how we should get ahead in life. Like I often find it troubling that as an African American culture, we seem to be the only people that are starting over generation after generation, right? Or we talk about, well, he was left with a silver spoon in his mouth, like that's a bad thing. right? Like, it's not a bad thing to leave your children in a better position than you were in.
Right.
That's what we should work for.
Supposed to do. Right.
Right. Like we should be wanting to leave a family legacy. And like to our kids, when we pass on, our kids got a leg up in life, and then their kids will be a leg up. That should be something that we should desire to do. Right. But we almost looked at it like as if it's a bad thing. We've been made to think it's a bad thing, and it totally is.
Right. And I think that I agree with that totally. You know, something my mom and dad used to say, each generation is supposed to get better.
Absolutely.
Each generation is supposed to, what we did, you supposed to, he would say, if I made 50, you should be trying to make 75, 80. Your child should be making 90. And he was like, and I'm not saying that the money is like what you said, the biggest thing. That was just an example that he would use to say each generation should be striving. And then the teaching, which is some of the things we did, you should take from that and learn how to teach your kids in a different way. You know, and like you said, then back to teaching them about Christ, teaching them about God. All those things are legacies that you want to leave behind. And it also gives light and gives salt to your family. You know, it helps because we're supposed to be the salt of the earth. And that's part of legacy. So that flavor will always stay in their mouth. That flavor will be always a part of them, you know. And I think because once we salt it, God will continue to cook it and cook it in a way that it needs to be done. You know what I mean? You know, now let me ask you this. Now, because I know your story and background and everything, but as you was doing this finance, you was trying to start aligning your finance business and everything with Christ. What challenges did you face? What challenges did you face during your time to where you are now in between the process? What were some of the challenges that you faced?
Well, you know, there were a couple. You know, of course, there's always the actual work on yourself, and you know what I mean, getting educated so you learn the product, all that. But you know, it's do I chase the commission or do I chase the service of the client? Right. That's probably one of the biggest things, right? Because I can go after the money and I can really get after the money, but am I doing right by everybody that I help? Right. What's more important? Is educating people more important and making sure that my community gets this information and knowledge, or is it really just lining my own pocket and making sure that I'm good, I'm fat? Look at me, I made a lot of money. Right. Like that's one of the biggest challenges, right? And then there's, you know, that was a challenge, and then also, you know, if we're honest, worrying about how I would be perceived. Because you know my background, you know where I come from, right? You know, things I've done, you know what I mean, my lifestyle, you know, and people, when we talk about money, a lot of people will say, you know what I'm saying, like, so me being worried about how people saw me or how some people may judge, but I realized that's not it. If God called me to this place, he put me here for a reason. Right. So I need to walk in it boldly and with confidence. Right. And everybody doesn't have to know, you know what I'm saying? Like what people think don't matter. It's all about what God thinks and where he placed me. So it was a lot of getting comfortable with myself in this space and in this role. Right. And because a lot of times, we're more concerned with what others think we are or who they think we are. And that shapes our identity, how we identify ourselves. And I think that I had to grow into understanding who God created me to be, who God truly created me to be, not this perception of who the world wants me to be or who I thought the world wanted me to be. Right. But really embracing me fully and saying, you know what, Ron, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And you got to walk in this and walk with it confidently. So just being confident and being able to walk into these spaces, like where I go into a room of, quite frankly, millionaires, right? And I'm like, they're wealthy, but you know what, though? I still know more about the money than they do. And being able to be confident in that, even though I don't have the money they have, right? But like I can show them some things about their money that they may not know. Right. Being able to embrace that with confidence, right? That was kind of that was kind of tough if we're being honest, right? But I'm at a space now where I understand that. Like I have something to offer, and understanding that I am valuable. I'm the valuable asset, right? So it was really getting to that.
Right. Now, how did God show you who he was during those challenges?
When I had the fear, I just pray about it and do it anyway. And he shows up. It's amazing. It's amazing what can happen when you rely upon him, right? Like fear will keep us from not booking a meeting. Fear will keep us from not having the conversation. You know what I mean? Fear will be, that's what fear will do.
Right.
But when you show up, the Holy Spirit be present with you. I was like, I ain't know that was going to come out of my mouth. Where'd that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like even in business, in certain meetings, in meetings, I'm like, okay, God, I thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You are good, right? And actually, it goes well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, that's how I know. Like, when you have fear about it, you pray about it and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because God ain't that fear. That's not a spirit that God gave us.
Man, you know what I learned also, Ron? Like when you uncomfortable, that's where you supposed to be. Because sometimes
Absolutely
show you right there that I was in a networking thing, and I'm sitting in there, and I'm like, man, ain't nobody in here faith-based. Why am I sitting here? They're not gonna listen to me. So I'm uncomfortable sitting in there. I'm like, do I need to really sit in there? Because none of these people, So I'm talking to the Lord in my head while I'm sitting there. And I'm like, Lord, do I really need to be here? He said, you right where I want you to be. So I sat there and I said, all right, let me wipe this sweat and nervousness off. Let me go ahead and just spit my spiel. I spit the spiel and I said, my name's Leo. I'm a Anointed Touch and I'm a faith-based. We use godly principles for the 2 minutes later, someone hit me and said, you're faith-based. My business is too. Can we network? And that reminded me, I don't care where you at, what you doing, how you is. When you uncomfortable, God will make you comfortable because he has you where he wants you for a reason. You know what I mean?
And also, you got to remember, if we're the salt of the earth, we have to be the light in dark places. Yeah. So sometimes he's going to require us to go places that aren't necessarily where you would think we would be. But he strengthened us to be able to be there.
Yeah.
And like again, to be in the world but not of it. And more importantly, not even really to judge other people, but to love them. Right. Yeah. Like to show, like I think that's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest things that I find that a lot of followers of Christ, and I shouldn't say that. Let me say Christians, churchgoers, the biggest mistake a lot of us make is they think that by, we're supposed to, go out and throw the word at everybody and all that. No, like that's not, evangelism may not be your call, right? But whatever your call is, if you do it with the love of Christ, like he gave us the commandment to love one another as I have loved you. That don't mean preach at them. That don't mean judge them. That don't mean beat them down because they did something wrong. We're supposed to show the love of Christ, right? Love, understanding, compassion, right? They respond a certain kind of way. We don't have to match that. That whole match my energy. That's not what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to show the love of God. And they be like, what's so special? What's so different about him, right? That's how they know who we are.
Right.
You know what I mean? We were supposed to be in those places, but it's how we carry ourselves and love other people. It's the important part.
Absolutely. And you said something strong, like we're supposed to be the light in the room. We're supposed to cut the light on, but sometimes I can just be honest. Sometimes I be trying to leave the light off. Be like, man,
absolutely.
Right now, I ain't trying to cut that light on, but something inside of you, like you said, God didn't never say you wouldn't fear. He just said you ain't got to live in fear, because I don't give you a fear for spirit, So that's where you have to live in his strength, and
not on your own,
and keep moving forward. Something, I kind of keep to myself. It's like the armor. He gives us the armor to keep moving forward, right? Because you notice when this is just my thought, the back of us are not covered. Right? Because he didn't give us the armor to turn around and run. he gave us the armor so we can face forward and keep running forward and keep moving forward within his strength to go towards our fear, not away from our fear. You know what I mean? So I always keep that in mind, and everything you're saying is just confirmation. Because, this week, some week, and, some days you be stronger than others. My man, I'm just not in it today, or yesterday wasn't a good day. And sometimes you'll hear them little voices that don't be God, it'll be the enemy. But it's always good to hear that, because what you're doing as financing and stuff like that, you're creating a community of encouragement and empowerment that, people are willing to come to Ron, not just for finance. You know what, brother? You said this to me the other day. I just wanted to talk to you. Is that okay? That right there is strong, because it just shows who you are through Christ. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that's happened to you before, because it's happened to me plenty of times, especially when you're trying to do it the right way. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, again, just being that light in dark place, being a light in dark places, and someone can see something, or they feel as though, again, you're that walking that humility, right? Yeah. I'm not above anyone or anything. Right. Listen, you can come talk to me. You make people feel comfortable. You know what I mean? You're transparent, so like they know there ain't gonna be no judgment in this space. Like that's like I try to say that to people in business all the time. First of all, I have a fiduciary responsibility. I can't share your business with anybody anyway, unless if I want to stay in business. Right. That's number one, right? But more importantly, I can't help you if you're not honest. Right. You know what I mean? And we can't help each other if we're not honest. Right. That goes in with all walks. Like this walk with Christ, it's not about church or religion. It's about relationship. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if we don't have a relationship, and we don't establish the relationship, then you're not going to open up to me. You're not going to want to hear about the God I serve. Like if I don't earn your trust, right? If we don't trust each other, how can we walk together and do life and talk to each other? Like this walk is all about that. It's about the relationship, not talking at someone, but talking to someone, understanding them, right? Like, listen, I know where you at. I've been there. I'm gonna get down here in the dirt with you, but I also know a way out. Right. So while you there, let me help you get up and get out. Right. You know what I mean? And that's what this is all about. And in everything that we do, like with your business and the health and, health and fitness, right? Like, we want people to be, health is a lot of things. You want people to be physically healthy, mentally, spiritually, right? Spiritual, emotional, and for me, it's financial health, financial wellness, right? Financially literate, financially understanding, right? Like, because, you can have cash and still be broke and poor because you don't know how to manage it. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't have to make a lot of money, but because you have an understanding of what to do with it, you'll be a lot more successful than somebody that makes twice as much as you do. Right. Because you understand the financial principles. Right. That's being healthy. You know what I'm saying? And we need, there are a lot of people that know a whole lot of word. They know a whole lot of gospel, a whole lot of scripture, but they ain't healthy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, if we honest, because they still be nasty to people. You're still cussing jokers out. They still doing all this stuff, but they know the Bible backwards and forwards. Yeah. Means nothing. Right. You know what I mean? It just means you know a lot of stuff. Right. But that relationship with God, if your heart's open and you're abiding in what you know, your actions, it'll show. The fruit's going to show. Right. You know? So. Right. That's strong. You said a whole mouthful. I'm not going to keep you much long, but let me just ask you about this. So I know you said that you specialize in life insurance. Just give me a little bit more about what else do you do outside the life insurance, because I really would like to try to get people to come, because I know myself, what I'm trying to do, I had thought about coming to talk to you myself, but just give us a little bit more, or what else that you, whether it's specialized or know about, can help, or whatever the case may be. Okay, well, generally people will come to me, come ask for help in a myriad of ways. One of the ways I help people is, like, a lot of people will have questions or concerns about their retirement, right? Yeah. You got a job and they say you put so much into this 401k and, the job will match it, or putting money into a retirement plan, where people have concerns about, am I saving enough? What's this going to look like later on? Right. Listen, you've got a paycheck your whole life. Now you get to retirement. You want to know what that paycheck's going to look like. Right. So I help address those needs and those concerns to make sure that we're saving enough money so that you have enough money when, you get to that retirement place. I ask people this question all the time in meetings, right? And I'll ask you, if you were about to climb Mount Everest, what would you say was the most important part of climbing Mount Everest?
The tools, the plan and the tools.
Right. But so let me ask you again. Let me ask the question right. What would be the goal of climbing Mount Everest?
To reach the top.
Right. You know when most deaths occur? Getting back down. So, right. So to reach the top, everybody likes the whole, in finance, everybody likes to talk about all the sexy stuff, how to, the investments, where you're putting the money, all this, how to save it, how to build it, how to get to the top, right? But most of the deaths occur on the way back down. We want to make sure that all the stuff we do is going to the top will last you on the way back down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's one of the ways I help people. Also, you have some people that are concerned about saving money for their kids, for their education, right? How do I save enough money for them to go to college, or if I want to put them in private school at a certain age or whatever? How do I do that while still saving for my own retirement? Because a lot of times, particularly in our community, we'll choose one or the other.
Yeah.
So I help people try to figure out how to do both concurrently, right? Based upon what kind of education you want for your child.
Right.
We don't want to burden our kids with student loan debt if we don't have to.
Right.
So I help people with that. Also, again, taxes. Like taxes. A lot of people, like particularly with entrepreneurs and business owners, right? You have concerns about, I'm paying too much in taxes. What do I need to do to mitigate some of this stuff? Like, so we answer some tax concerns, right? Not an accountant, but I'm able to show you ways that you can put money in places that can become tax-free to help you avoid Uncle Sam, so to speak, right? Then of course, there's the the basic stuff, the budgeting. I have people with budgeting cash flow concerns, right? I don't know where my money's going, right? I can't seem to save, right? I help people with that. And then, of course, then there's my insurance portion, the protection aspect of it, right? Like life insurance, long-term care, disability coverage. A lot of people don't understand, like, life insurance in terms of how it protects your family. But not only that, in ensuring that if something were to happen to you, your family doesn't have to lose everything. Right. And then also for your legacy, for later on in life, that you leave something to pass down to your children. Right. Also, like disability coverage. Disability is key because I think, particularly when we're talking about financial planning, because all these plans will look great, but if something happens to you and you can't make any money, now we can't fund the plan. Right. Now you can't pay your bills. Right. So we want to make sure that we have that covered. So if something were to happen to you, that the plan doesn't get derailed. Right. And long-term care is actually a big one now, because there are some states that are literally requiring you that if you don't have your own long-term care, you got to pay more into the government. You got to pay a tax. Wow. But long-term care destroys more people's wealth and savings than anything else, because people rely on Medicare and thinking that stuff's going to kick in, but you got to liquidate your assets before that stuff kicks in. So it's always good to make sure that you have a plan in place to take care of yourself. Right. If something were to happen to you as you get older, you don't have to go into a home, or you could pick one you want to go to, because long-term care is expensive. Right. So those are things that I do to help people.
Wow, man, you do a whole lot. I'm definitely going to try to get that info. Now, if people want to get in contact with you, how do they get in contact with you?
Oh, well, you can always find me on, Facebook. Facebook, my personal page is Ron Blackwell. My business page is my name, Ron Blackwell. I can be reached, via email. Okay. My email address for my business is E Blackwell, my first initial, last name Blackwell Financial Guide, GUIDE.com. Instagram at Ron Black, Black with 2 Ks, BLAKK. Just hit me up. You inbox me, email me. You reach me on one of those platforms, I would definitely shoot you my number. We can have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like I can, it's not a problem at all.
Right. And I'm definitely going to put the stuff out there too, especially when I post. This will be good because I'll put it up under the captions and on YouTube as well so people can see, because I think you said something strong, just like what I do. I'm in the health field. Financial health is important too. Mm-hmm. Understanding your whole financial portfolio and help you chisel away some of the fat, in my terms, that you may have to tone you up in a way that will make you more healthy and make you more, sustainable throughout your life. Mm-hmm. That you need. So I definitely appreciate your time, man. Thank you always, brother, for always. Every time I ask this guy for something, he'd be like, yeah, bet, good. He makes time out for it, all of that. So I appreciate him. He's my brother in Christ, and I thank him. And like I said, y'all hit him up. I'm definitely gonna post in all the groups his information, and all of this. And it's time to get right. And my dad always taught me, okay, if you messed up, but it's never too late to try. If you wake up, if you wake up tomorrow and your eyes wake up and you get to see day, then that's another opportunity to get it right. Just try. So I don't ever think it's too late. Not with God. It's never too late, because his love is longer than what we think.
Absolutely.
So just try to get it together and get our finances together and hit him up, man. He's a good dude, good godly dude, and a friend. So I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. To the next episode. Y'all enjoy. Have a good day.
Thank you.